Welcome back to the portfolio, everyone. And today we're doing a deep dive into Warren Buffett. We're going to discuss his company, Berkshire Hathaway, go over their top holdings, and determine if Warren Buffett can continue to outperform the market moving forward. So Warren Buffett, of course, has seen a big decline in share price over the past couple of months. On the year-to-date chart, he's actually underperforming the overall S&P, and his company, Berkshire Hathaway, has lost over $90 billion in market value this year alone. So if we take a look at the year-to-date chart, Berkshire Hathaway Class B shares are down 16%, currently trading at $192 per share. Pre-pandemic level, you can see here around $220 to $230 per share. They saw those huge March lows, have slightly recovered but have not reached those back to those pre-pandemic levels. 52-week low at around $160 per share, and 52-week high up at $230 per share. So they are trading somewhat in the middle towards the low side of this 52-week range. And their market cap, of course, is around $462 billion, making this one of the most valuable companies in the US market right now. So we're going to go over a couple different headlines around Warren Buffett, talk about some different decisions he's made as of late, and overall just talk about what he's been doing, how he's been performing in the market, and overall we're going to go through their top holdings within their portfolio to determine if we believe he can continue to outperform the market moving forward, and actually take a look at how those top 5 holdings have performed over the year-to-date chart to kind of break down exactly why Berkshire Hathaway is still down 60% and is actually underperforming the S&P right now. So the first big headline we want to talk about is how Warren Buffett's companies actually lost $90 billion in market value this year alone, and only 4 companies have actually lost greater values than them. And if we take a look, the 4 companies that have lost more market value than Warren Buffett's company are JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and ExxonMobil. We all know oil has tanked this past year, and the value for oil really deeply declined, where actually futures went negative for the first time in history. So of course, ExxonMobil also has seen a very steep decline as of late. And of course, the financial sector has been hit extremely hard during this economic slowdown. JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, and Bank of America have all seen very tough times as of late, causing their share price to suffer. So of course, Wells Fargo is actually one of these 3 banks that have actually cut their dividend as of late. JP Morgan and Bank of America have held their dividend strong, but of course they have still lost extreme market values for all these companies. So Warren Buffett has seen a little bit of struggle right now over the short term. Do I think that takes away of his status of being the greatest investor of all time? Absolutely not. I don't believe you can outperform the market for years on end and then all of a sudden you have a bad couple of years and that takes away your legendary status. Nothing has happened with Berkshire Hathaway. The company will not go bankrupt. When you buy into Berkshire Hathaway, they own so many different brands and companies. You are essentially buying into an ETF. Berkshire Hathaway owns 46 different equities within their portfolio right now. So they're extremely diversified. Of course, their top holdings make up a majority of the portfolio, but they still have income coming in from a bunch of different sectors of the market all across the United States and across the world. So Warren Buffett, I still believe, is the greatest investor of all time. Even though he's having his short-term struggles and his market cap has seen a hit, I don't believe it will last long, and I do believe he will continue to perform very nicely in the long term, just because Warren Buffett owns so many solid assets that are continue to cash flow for years on end. So everyone, I am the Gen Z investor, and I make new videos about the stock market, different stocks you can buy, and any other big stock market news and headlines every single day. So please like and subscribe, and we're going to continue on with Warren Buffett, talk about some other reasons he's been in the news as of late. Next thing we're going to talk about how is Warren Buffett actually owns an insanely large position in Apple stock, and Berkshire Hathaway is actually Apple's single largest shareholder. So he owns around $91 billion worth of Apple stock as of right now. See here, Apple stock makes up 43% of Berkshire Hathaway's portfolio. So Warren Buffett, 43% of his investment portfolio right now is held within Apple shares, and he owns over $90 billion worth of Apple. So of course, Apple has seen insane gains as of late. The company is up close to 100% on the 1-year chart. And of course, they've continued to grow and they actually have seen insane growth during the economic shutdown. So of course, with this being Warren Buffett's largest holding, the overall portfolio has actually grown because of Apple's performance. And if you take Apple out of the equation, Berkshire Hathaway would be down a lot more than just 16% on the year-to-date chart. Another big news headline we got to talk about with Warren Buffett is he's finally spending some cash. Warren Buffett, of course, is known for having one of the largest cash piles in the United States and actually in the world. We're going to go over his balance sheet later on in this video, so stay tuned for that, where we break down actually how much cash he has. He actually made his first deal with that insane cash pile, where he bought around a $10 billion deal with Dominion Energy, where he purchased their natural gas assets. So natural gas assets are still going to be in use for the long period of time. And now with a lot of regulation and different environmental groups, it's very hard to build and manufacture these types of assets. So Warren Buffett purchased assets that are actually going to continue cash flow for years into the future and that are very hard to buy into right now. So of course, Warren Buffett's like buying companies that have moats and have very high barriers to entry. So I think this was a good buy for the company because he agreed to pay a $10 billion deal to buy natural gas assets that it's going to be very hard for his competition to obtain. They aren't just building pipelines anymore. It's very hard to continue to grow those types of infrastructure. So the fact that Warren Buffett bought into this deal, I actually think it was a nice use of his cash pile right now. And of course, he had a cash pile of close to $140 billion. So spending $10 billion of that was not much of it overall, and he still has a huge amount of cash left over for future deals. Another headline that has to do with Warren Buffett, a little bit less about his company, but more about his personal life, is that he's actually dropping on the billionaires list. Of course, this means nothing. He's still one of the top 10 wealthiest people on the planet right now. But I find it very interesting, and I really want to just throw it in there very briefly. Warren Buffett has actually dropped out of the top 5 for wealthiest people on the planet. Elon Musk have actually passed Warren Buffett with regard to personal net worth. Of course, Warren Buffett owns a different type of asset compared to Elon Musk. And of course, Berkshire Hathaway shares have declined, so his personal net worth has declined. And over the past month, he actually donated around $3 billion worth of stock to a couple different charities. So of course, that did knock down his net worth a little bit. This really does not mean much. He still went, like I said, in the top 10 most wealthiest people on the planet, but I thought I would throw it in because it is a news headline regarding Warren Buffett. The next thing we're going to quickly talk about is we're going to go over their portfolio. We're going to go over their top 10 holdings, break down what they've actually done over the past year-to-date chart, and just see how they've contributed to Warren Buffett's slight decline in the short term. Of course, I do believe Warren Buffett has some smart things planned. As the greatest investor of time and one of the wealthiest people on the planet, I'm sure he has access to information that the everyday person like you and I doesn't have. And he has that huge cash pile. I'm sure he's got some big things planned that will continue to grow the company for years into the future. So Warren Buffett's top 10 holdings are Apple, Bank of America, Coca-Cola, American Express, Kraft Heinz, Wells Fargo, Moody Corporation, JP Morgan Chase, US Bank Corp, and DaVita. And if you take a look here, this shows what part of the actual company he owns. So Warren Buffett owns around 5.8% of Apple, 10% of Bank of America, and around 9.3% of Coca-Cola. And this shows that his total portfolio value for all of Berkshire Hathaway is around $224 billion right now. And you have to add to that, he has around $130 billion cash position, which is why his market cap of this company is over $400 billion. So if you take a look, with the current share price of Apple up to date, he owns around a $97 billion stake into Apple right now, making it, of course, its largest holding and around 43% of this overall portfolio. Before we jump into the top 5 holdings and actually take a look at how they've performed over the short term, let's just see Warren Buffett's balance sheet. So if we take a look, this is Berkshire Hathaway's balance sheet, and they have done an insane job of generating cash. 5 years ago, the company had around $64 billion worth of cash on hand. They have more than doubled it in the past 5 years, and as of their last report, they had $137 billion of cash on hand. Of course, they did make that deal with Dominion to buy some assets, so that cash pile might be a little bit down right now, but of course, when their next filing, we will get an up-to-date number, but still, it's absolutely insane to see that they have doubled their cash position over 5 years, from $64 billion up to over $130 billion. So this company generates an insane amount of cash. He likes buying companies that cash flow and cash flow high percentages year over year. So that just shows how insanely high their cash piles are now, and this gives them so much buying power. Warren Buffett can buy so many companies outright. He can buy large positions into a lot of companies right now, and that's why I believe this company and Berkshire Hathaway overall will continue to do well over the long term, because he's going to put this money to use. Whether it's now, whether it's in a year, 2 years down the road, Warren Buffett will eventually put this money to use, and he will buy solid companies that have income-producing assets that are very hard to get into with high moat and low competition, and he will generate insane cash flow for this company like he's been doing over the past 54 years as CEO. So now we're just jump into the top 5 holdings, do a quick analysis on how they've performed over the year-to-date chart, just to show you, give you an overall performance and overall guideline to why Warren Buffett's portfolio is actually down 16% on the year-to-date chart. So we take a look at Apple. You can see here, Apple's been the one company that's actually held Warren Buffett's portfolio up. 1 year chart up 94%, and year-to-date the company is up close to 34%. So this is the one company, of course, making up 43% of their portfolio, which actually kept this company up So the fact that Berkshire Hathaway is only down 16%, Apple has made a huge part in keeping that number that high as possible. The second largest company in Berkshire Hathaway's portfolio is Bank of America. 1 year chart down 19 to 20%, and on the year-to-date chart they are down 33%. So it's very tough when your second largest holding is down 33% and the overall company is only down 16. So that just shows you that Apple is one of the big companies holding up Berkshire right now. So Bank of America, of course, seen insane struggles, down 33% of the year-to-date chart, which is insane, currently trading around $24 a share. Third largest holding is Coca-Cola. 1 year chart, they are only down 10%. Year-to-date chart, they are in line with Berkshire, a very similar, down 16%. Very similar price chart to Berkshire overall. You can see pre-pandemic level around $60 a share. Saw the March lows with a little bit of recovery, but have been somewhat flat since then. Fourth largest holding is American Express. 1 year chart, they are down 24%, and on the year-to-date chart, they are still down around 24 to 25%. So this company, of course, has seen struggles once again. A little bit of a financial company here, market cap at around $75 billion. Another one of these companies, as one of the largest holdings of Warren Buffett, they have seen very sharp price declines as of late, which is what's bringing down Warren Buffett's overall performance. And the fifth largest portfolio weighting within Berkshire Hathaway's portfolio is Kraft Heinz, which of course on the 1 year chart it does look good, up 8%, but if we take a look at the 5 year chart, it is down around 57%. So this company has seen insane struggles, especially as of late. Year-to-date chart, they are up 6%, but when you take a look at the overall trend of this company, it is on a downward trend as of late. 5 year trend completely downhill at around 57%. So this one company has of course hurt Warren Buffett's portfolio as of late, and it's bringing down the overall returns. There's nothing much about it. Kraft Heinz has been a brutal company as of late, and that's just how we're going to end it off. So Warren Buffett, I still believe, is the greatest investor of all time. Of course, he's underperformed the market over the past couple of years and within the short term, but I believe with the insane cash pile he has on hand right now, he will do something big, make a couple big deals, and bring some nice cash flowing assets within to the company. And of course, he will continue to do well. Berkshire Hathaway will continue to generate revenue each and every year long into the future. So that was the deep dive into Warren Buffett. I hope you appreciate it. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in tomorrow's video.